Alright, here's a video of my solar controller. It's going to be a little hard to see initially, but if you look right here, you see a little blue light. As soon as I fire up my 100 watt CW carrier, the battery voltage drops enough that that last controller kicks in. And if you wait a little bit, it'll come back. Or maybe not. And if I turn on an additional power source, because we have no sun today, you can see that they start switching back. Let's get over here while they're working. This is a little solar controller I built. It's a bang bang converter. And now we got two lights on. The cover makes it terribly diffuse. There's not clear plastic. In any case, you can see that two controllers are on now. And eventually, with the battery being charged, you'll get three. There's three. See if I can get all three on there. You can see 1, 2, 3. But that cover, for some reason, is more translucent. The green light means it's good. And what the box does, or what the box is, there's the fourth one. The box measures the voltage on my bus from my batteries over in my shack. And if the battery voltage is above 13 volts, the first light will turn off, and then 13.1, 13.2, 13.3. And what happens is, when the voltage is high enough, all blue lights are on. When the load increases, what will happen is the battery voltage will fall from 13.3, 13.2, 13.1, 13.0. And what that'll do is it'll short out each of my 4 regulators from my 4 panels. And the idea for that is, the 4 panels have regulators that are set to 13.9 volts. 13.9 volts with the isolating Schottky diodes in here gives me 13.6 at the battery. When the battery sees 13.6, it's on float charge. This is my battery being floated. You can see the voltage is coming up right now because I'm feeding, what is it, like 15 amps off of my power supply. I turn off the power supply and just rely on solar power. The battery voltage can drop down, and what you'll see is the voltage will fall away. When that happens, these 4 regulators will no longer be in operation. They'll be shorted out. And what that'll do is it'll not allow the current to go from the panel directly to the battery, which is inefficient. These regulators convert 22 to 13.9, which is more efficient. But feeding the battery with 13.6 charges it slowly. What I'm doing now is I'm impressing a higher voltage on it to drive the current harder. In any case, that's what we have. I even have a clock here at 12 o'clock noon. Turns on the batteries and runs them up to about 14.5 volts to beat off or kill off sulfation. And of course, being a 73-year-old child, I didn't realize that my solar collectors needed to be at this angle. I made myself a pretty sophisticated device for measuring the sun, and I found that the sun was not hitting the panels square on. Let me get that panel controller. This is my panel tester, and what it does is, if the sun is going parallel with the stripes, it tells me that the sun's perpendicular to it. It may be off axis, but it's at least perpendicular. So this is like 75 degrees or something, and then in the winter time it'll be much more steep. It'll be like 30 degrees. Anyway, I'm going to build some solar controllers so that these guys will work better. I also had a parasitic benefit. If you notice, the color of the house is fairly light. What happens here is the sun hits the siding and bounces down, so I get a slight improvement, a little corner reflector effect, which is kind of interesting. This thing here is my antenna switch, which normally is grounded, but when I turn the rig on, it hooks up my ladder line to my 860-foot horizontal loop and all that good stuff. I don't think the camera can resolve the image, but my 160-meter loop is right here. I don't think we can see that with the camera. You can barely see it. It's 806. It's 160 meter and 80 meter magnetic loop. One of my other projects. Being trapped in the house, I get a lot of projects built. This is my 50-foot automatic crank up and crank down tower, made out of 3-inch, 3.5-inch, and 4-inch box steel, putting my hex beam up in the air. But I digress. Anyway, the solar panels are a lot of fun. Being trapped in the house, I had to come up with another project, and the last couple of months this has evolved. So we got 480 watts worth of panel coming into the regulators, and the regulators are doing their thing. As you can see now, all 4 regulators are now bypassed because the lights have all gone out. All the blue lights have gone out. So each of the panels is contributing what they may, like 1 amp, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.2. Anyway, that's giving me more current being shunted than if they weren't. If I turn off the controller, and you see the green light go out, then you can see that maybe I got a little difference, but no, not really. These guys are still doing as much as they can, considering the lack of sun outside. When the sun comes on, these guys are capable of dumping, and I've done it, 28 amps of current into the battery when they're in a shunted mode, and that is just a boogie a lot of current. The 400 amp hour batteries can charge up rather quickly that way, and get these batteries cranking up. This is my boat anchor station. It runs on the line. And this is my solid state station over here, which, by the way, right now says on the air, but that's because I'm not keyed up and I am on the dummy load. Try to always be clean, be nice, play well with others. N4MQ, everybody have a good day.